In previous programs, we explored what the phrase aging well means to us. We talked about the benefits of having a sense of purpose, as well as developing a broad view of life. The interdependence of all living things has become more apparent over the last 60 years. We are one of the first generations to see pictures of planet Earth from space. Many astronauts have found the experience of seeing planet Earth from space to be life-changing. Karen Nyberg, a mechanical engineer from NASA, has spent 120 days in space. She said,
"Every single part of the Earth reacts with every other part. It's one thing. Every little animal is important in that ecosystem. Seeing the planet from above makes you realize that and makes you want to be a little more proactive in keeping it that way. If I could get every Earthling to do one circle of the Earth, I think things would run a little differently."
Now, when in space, these highly trained men and women often become acutely aware of the preciousness and fragility of our planet, and they tell of their sense of wonder and awe. Now, it's unlikely that us older Earthlings will be going into space anytime soon, but in this stage of life, we have a chance to open ourselves up to this vast cosmic perspective. When children first experience waves lapping on a beach or snow falling on the ground, there is curiosity and amazement at the mystery of it all. But in the ego-driven, independent stage of life, we can lose this deeper connection.
Now, in the later stages, we can reconnect with the wonder of life and have a profound sense of gratitude for it. We have lived long enough to see the big interconnected picture. When the astronaut Mike Massimino looked back at our planet, he said, "If you could be up in heaven, this is how you would see the planet." And then I dwelled on that and I said, no, it's more beautiful than that. This is what heaven must look like. I think of our planet as a paradise. We are very lucky to be here.
We can either take life for granted or become more conscious that we're part of something extraordinary. Many research studies have shown that appreciation and gratitude are important for our well-being. In later life, we suffer from various aches and pains, we lose flexibility, and our body doesn't function as well as it used to. It's easy to feel resentful or sorry for ourselves, so it's essential for our well-being to make a conscious effort to appreciate each day of our life.
How can we have gratitude for life when we know it will not last? At our age, we know that everything is transient, that life is finite. Plants, trees, animals all die, and we humans are no different. How can we have gratitude when there are so many uncertainties about our health as we grow older? With all these unknowns, the ego-driven mind can become fearful. An individual who sees themselves as independent and separate can easily be overwhelmed by anxiety, which can lead to isolation and loneliness.
Being appreciative is not to deny life's difficulties. And as we grow older, there are many challenges. Besides the physical difficulties, we also have to deal with the death of friends, relatives, and pets. At our age, we've all known losses. But while grief is the natural response to loss, we elders can still find gratitude for life. In the independent stage of life, grief is seen as negative or unpleasant, It's something that needs to be fixed as quickly as possible so that we can go back to business as usual. But the wise elder sees that loss is an inevitable part of being human. Grief is painful, but it's part of life. And it will not help us to age well if we deny this emotion.
When we were young, we were encouraged to grow out of shedding tears and crying, as it showed a vulnerability that was not always welcome. Even at a funeral, mourners might speak of how bravely the widow behaved because she showed little of her deep emotion. From the cosmic perspective, the grief and joy are deeply connected, and we cannot truly experience joy if we deny the grief.
In the late afternoon of life, we can count our losses as well as our blessings. We have not stopped learning and developing as we reach later life. We're still curious. We have survived many decades and gained a richness of life experience that most younger people can never comprehend. So, how can we, as elders, develop our wisdom and our courage to benefit ourselves and others?
What is our purpose? What gives us meaning? And how can we make a difference at our age? Everything comes down to our intention, not just for today or next week, but for the rest of our lives. In the next program, we'll talk about how clarity of intention is key to aging well in later life. We'll suggest that it involves a personal exploration and a conscious effort in order to create a strong life intention that will benefit us as well as others.